go live. Hi, my name is Courtney. I'm very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one that you had envisioned for yourself, but you got to do something. I had to tell you, I've had a rough week. I usually know if I'm flared up this bad. I usually know what caused it, and I don't. And that kind of pisses me off. Not that it matters, but it does kind of piss me off because it's just been miserable. But a lot of my problems are driven by well, I'm kind of one of these, it's just a circular thing, which came first, the chicken or the egg. But I do have a ton of problems with my fascia. So let's talk about it. If you get weird aches and pains and like knots in strange places, it's probably your fascia. What is it? What the hell is fascia? Well, it's a connective tissue that's found literally throughout your entire body. When you peel an orange and you get that white pithy stuff, it's kind of like that, but it's not just around your muscles, it's also within your muscles. I've heard it described as cotton candy made out of steel wool because it is really strong, powerful stuff. Why should you care? Well, because your fascia supports and protects your entire body. It's what allows our muscles to glide over each other. Well, when you get adhesions and distortions in your fascia, which happens incredibly um, easier for some of us than others because, some of us are just lucky. But it is pretty simple to get distortions in your fascia. And then that causes problems. That causes problems like pain. It can cause numbness. My fascia in my shoulders often gets so tight that my hands go completely numb. There's so much pressure, it's blocking the nerve signals. It also impacts the ability for collagen and elastin, which are essential proteins. You can't get something through a king toes, right? Not very effectively, anyway. So when your fascia is a knotted up mess, it impacts your ability to distribute and absorb your collagen and elastin. It can even impact your heart rate, your digestion, your breathing. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's your autonomic nervous system. You wouldn't think, well, what could impact that? Well, your fascia, quite easily. Fascia also causes cellulite. All those distortions, they pull the skin down and then the fat pushes up between. Think of it kind of like fishnet stockings. And that fat pushes up in between, and that's what causes all those lumps and bumps that you see. How do you get the micro traumas? And that literally that's what it's called, micro traumas. I swear I'm not making that up. But the way that we walk, the way that we talk, not talk so much, the way that we sit, the way that we sit. Well, me, if you talk, because I always talk with my hands, but everything that we do with our bodies, when you trip and you catch yourself, that can cause problems with your fascia. Now, for most people, the problems just come and go. For some of us, they just kind of move in and hang out. So how do you fix it? I actually had this, I won't say totally under control because I do have a lot of fascia problems, but I managed it fairly well for a while. Um, we won't go into why I stopped doing it. It's a long, complicated story. It's not just as simple as being lazy. Although I'll be honest, that was a component, but it is fixable. You've got to watch your nutrition. I mean, obviously, you guys know, quit eating a bunch of processed crap. It doesn't do your body good in any situation. And if you have fascia problems, that stuff causes inflammation, which is going to make your fascia problems even worse. You need to be hydrated. Proper hydration is going to help support your fascia from a cellular level. You need to worry about your posture. Most of us are slumped over these days. We're on a phone, we're on a keyboard, and we don't have very good posture. In fact, one thing that we do wrong often when we try to fix our posture, we roll our shoulders back and that flares your rib cage out. You don't want to do that either. But your posture is important. So you need to stretch. You need to exercise. They even have specific fascia stretching available. Erin Teets Fascia Fix on YouTube. She's got a lot of really good free content. I highly encourage you to check her out. You can go in and get osteopathic manipulation. That is, if you've never heard of it, it's kind of like chiropractic care for soft tissue. But they're not as gentle as my chiropractor. They just cram that stuff back in there. And usually after OMM, I am severely battered and bruised. They send you out the door with ice packs because they know it's painful, but it's also a really effective therapy. But there's also things you can do at home. I just talked about cupping last week. I think it was last week. But that's that Chinese medicine practice of creating a vacuum with a cup. Well, that pulls up on that fascia. In fact, the other day I got my cups out because I hurt my knee. I didn't really hurt my knee. I have IT band issues because of my fascia. Your IT bands are fascia, but my IT bands were pulling on my knees, and so my knees were really hurting. So I got out my cups, I iced it, elevated it, cupped it, and then I grabbed this. Is my favorite thing in the world for fascia. This is a fascia blaster. Now I honestly have like 5 or 6 of these, all different sizes and shapes, but this one is my favorite because with all of my health issues, grip, because of the fascia in my shoulders, grip can be a big issue. Now, obviously, I can't get my own back with this one, but other than that, the way this is shaped and everything, it's really easy for me to hold on to. And what you're supposed to do is get your muscles warmed up, like right after a workout or after a sauna, get some oil out, oil up your skin, and then you just rub it over. You would think these little knobs turn, they don't. I don't know why the hell this works. Okay, I have no clue, but it does. These little points are for digging in to knots. But when my doctor that does my osteopathic manipulation found out that I had this, she was really happy to hear that. So the other day when my knee hurt so bad, I could barely walk. I had to stop my workout only like 5 or 10 minutes into it because my knee was bothering me so bad. But elevated, iced, cupped, and then I used this. And I found out the coolest thing, and probably Ashley Black, which by the way, all this information is from ashley.blackguru.com. That's the lady who makes the fascia blasters. And they would probably hate me for telling you guys this, but I just learned the coolest thing. One of the reasons why I don't like to use the fascia blasters, I don't like dealing with all the oil. I find it messy and inconvenient, and I don't have the time, energy, or patience. I can run this over my leggings and get the same results, very close to the same results at any rate. And that's a game changer for me. So now I keep this by my bed. And when my legs wake me up in the middle of the night, I grab my fascia blaster and I can get all those worst. I can get the worst of the knots don't go away for me, but I can get the worst of the knots out. And that allows me to go back to sleep. So there you go. Now you know a little bit more about your fascia. And again, ashleyblackguru.com. These are not cheap. I'm not going to lie to you. They're not cheap. But these are easily one of the best investments I've ever made into I'm not good with visual aids, into my health. So if you are dealing with fibromyalgia or Hashimoto's or lupus or stuff like that, I really encourage you to check out the fascia blaster. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I will be back Monday, probably around 11, but I was early today because I forgot and I scheduled something else at 11. So that's why I'm early. Anyway.